This story is crazy. Imagine it's nighttime and you hear a tap at your back door. Upon further investigation, you're greeted by a half-clothed man staring you down while performing a lewd act. So you run to call the police, your family members, and then you find out he's gone just down the street to your sister's house and done the exact same thing. Not only that, he gets arrested, taken away, and then comes back to your neighborhood the very same night to continue his rampage. And there's more, but that's not the most concerning part. The most concerning part is the police action, or lack of action, leaving you, your family, and your neighbors living in fear. I'm Scarlett Grace with Rebel News, coming to you with a story from Peterborough, Ontario, about an alleged perv the police just don't seem to want to do much about.
In that moment, you can see a man with no pants on come running at her. And she screams. Sorry, I get emotional. She just screams like, "Who the f*** are you?"
He was actually in the complex visiting somebody who lives in the complex. Okay. And so that's why he was here in the first place. And from what the police had said was that he was asked to leave their house because of whatever was happening. I can only imagine.
A concerned citizen, Sarah, reached out to Rebel News. She is the mother of the two sisters I mentioned who were both terrorized by a man with no pants in the same night. He was arrested, taken to hospital, and came right back to the same area hours later. This is her story about how the police have mishandled this alleged criminal, allowing him to repeatedly commit the same acts over and over. Her follow-up calls have gone ignored, but she's determined to be heard, and that's why she reached out to us.
June 9th, the evening of June 9th, it was about 10 after 11 at night. My daughter was sitting here on the couch by herself, nobody else home, just her and the dogs. She was watching TV. She heard what she thought maybe was a knock at the back patio door. The door was closed, but it wasn't locked. And the blinds were closed, but they were open at the handle about 6 inches. So when she heard the first sound, she looked over and didn't see anything. And as she was looking, she saw a hand knocking on the door again. So she suspected maybe it was her dad, also lives in the complex. And so she thought he was just messing around. She went over to the door, opened the blinds, didn't see anybody. And so she put her hand on the door to open the door, and she thought, that's weird, actually, that if it was my dad, he wouldn't be hiding. And so she, before opening the door, turned on the flashlight on her phone and started to look around the backyard, didn't see anything until she turned to the right where the handle was. There was a man, no pants on, just standing there with himself and masturbating. And she just kind of was taken aback, and she raised the flashlight and looked right in his face. He's looking right at her, and he just waved with his other hand. And she was really scared. She quickly locked the door, closed the blinds, ran to the front door, made sure that door was locked, and ran upstairs. So she called the police, and they said that they would send somebody over. She called me next and started to tell me what was happening. And, she was terrified, crying. I said, "Did you call your sister?" Because she also lives in the same complex. And she said, "No, I haven't. Do you think I should?" And just as she said that, her sister called her. So it was only 5 or 6 minutes after it had happened. And her sister called. She answered the other line, and she said, "Are you at home?" Because there was just a man in my backyard knocking on my window, with no pants on, crouched down, touching himself. And so she said, "Oh my gosh, call the police right now. That just happened at my house." So she hung up and called the police.
So right now we're hearing from what Sarah's daughters endured that night in June. But if we head just down the block to Cheyenne's place, we will hear about what her daughter endured the same night.
So my husband and I were up in bed that night, and our daughter was sitting out on the front porch. The baby was sleeping. Her son's a year old, so she was just kind of having mommy time.
And she's young adult.
She's a young adult. She's 21 years old. Pretty naive. So she was just sitting out front on her phone, watching videos, hanging out, having some downtime. The baby had woken up. She had the monitor with her. When she noticed the baby had woken up, she started, cleaning up. We have a trunk out there, so she just kind of put away her things.
About what time was this?
I want to say it was about 10 after 11. It was not late at all. It was actually quite unusual for my husband and I to be up in bed with everything turned down. So the baby had woken up. She started tidying up so she could come in to attend to the child. As she put everything away, you can see in our video that she stands up, she turns and she opens the screen door. And in that moment, you can see a man with no pants on come running at her. And she screams. Sorry, I get emotional. She just screams like, "Who the f*** are you?" And she gets inside the house and she says with all her might, all she could think of was my baby's in this house. She's able to close the door and lock it.
Cheyenne tells me about how her and her family's sense of security has been taken away, mostly because of the lack of police action following this night.
There was an older officer who was doing the statement with my daughter, and he was doing, I'm assuming it was a voice recording as well. But during their statements, for certain questions, they're stopping the recording to ask questions. So, I know at one point for my husband's, the officer stops the recording, and he was like, "Now, honestly, tell me, how long has it been since you've run that fast?" And
what?
Yeah, my husband's like, "Oh, well, quite a while. I work in the LLS classes at Kenner. I work at Kawartha Pine Ridge District School Board, so I don't do a whole lot of running."
But also, what on earth is the relevance to that and the crimes this perpetrator allegedly committed?
Absolutely none. I think it was just their way of, making light of the situation. During my daughter's, I would assume he stopped the recording, because if not, I would love to hear it. But at one point during his interview, he looked my daughter in the face and said, "Well, he didn't actually do anything to you. You weren't targeted. He didn't hurt you. You have to understand, he may have been under the influence of something."
You have to understand he may have been under the influence of something while he tried to break into
your home, half naked, with his parts flapping in the breeze. And what were his intentions if it wasn't to cause her harm? If it wasn't to get into our home to, steal something, or we don't know. Why else would you be naked chasing girls? I was very upset with that comment, and I went back, and the cameras that we had out there, I was really hoping it had picked it up, but they were so far away you couldn't hear what they were saying. You could see them talking, but you couldn't hear what he was saying to her. And I was like, how could he say? He took everything. He took her sense of safety from her home. That's not something you can get back. She doesn't sit outside anymore at night. She doesn't go sit out there like she used to. She'll come out to the backyard, but only for a few moments, because he went into people's backyards too. So he took everything. He took her safety. That's you should have in your home. So I'm so mad that the officer told her he took nothing, or he did nothing, because he did.
She also tells me that she's afraid to follow up with Peterborough Police about the incident for fear of being accused of harassment, something that Sarah is not afraid to do. She said herself that she will be going to the police station within the coming days to see herself what is being done about this.
Complex also issued a warning to the residents of the co-op and let them know with a picture of him, this gentleman was causing some problems in the complex. If anybody sees him, this is the number for the police to call and let them know. So he's been trespassed. So
the complex here is at least taking some action by trespassing the man.
Yes. And so he was actually in the complex visiting somebody who lives in the complex. And so that's why he was here in the first place. And from what the police had said was that he was asked to leave their house because of whatever was happening. I can only imagine. And he was just, I guess, wandering after that. So we had tried to contact the police. The girls had tried to contact the police several times throughout the next few days with no response, nothing whatsoever. It wasn't until the following Monday. So this was the previous Tuesday night. And so the following Monday, the officer who had come and taken the statement from my first daughter had called her and had said that, he said that, in all honesty, you guys didn't seem like you were very overzealous to press charges in the first place. And it was the call of the sergeant on duty to designate this call as a mental health call and not as a criminal call. And so that's why he was taken to the hospital. And when my daughter said, well, he came back, he wasn't aware of that. He didn't have any information about that. And he said, you know, if you would like to call and make another complaint, we can, you know, look into that. And if they want me to come back to take that complaint, then I guess I'll be seeing you.
So what are these residents supposed to do now? Cheyenne has admitted fear of following up with police in case she is accused of harassment. Sarah will be following up with them, determined to be heard. She will be visiting the police station herself in the coming days to see what's being done. As per my brief email response from Peterborough Police, they do say this is an ongoing investigation now. Help keep us in the field, bringing you these stories. Head to rebelfieldreports.com, chip in if you can for our travel expenses so we can keep bringing the news to you. Cheyenne mentioned she reached out to Global News about this story but heard nothing back. And we're here to bring you the stories the mainstream media won't. That's rebelfieldreports.com to help keep us in the field.